Hi, excuse me, welcome back to Mike's Diabetes World. Got the blood sugar down to 8.5, which is awesome. As you can see, we've had the dip, gave my mealtime insulin just a tad bit earlier, and we can see that helped. So I guess I'm going to get more of these corrections to make me settle down for the day. The pink, for those of you who don't know, is the basal. That's basically what your body needs to live. 4.325 units of active insulin still in my system. So if I bolus, if let's say I decide I want more breakfast, whatever the units are, that amount will be subtracted so that you don't get into what's called stacking, where you just put so much insulin on top of each other. And it all can happen all at once, and you head for a very low low. Okay, let's take a look. Time and range, not too much different. 56 above 10, 44 below. Average range is 10.3. We're going to have to be working on this number now. All in all, it's looking a little bit better. Not great yet, but we'll get there. For sure. For sure. Today, I want to discuss keeping your supplies with you. And we'll be right back. So thank you. This channel is provided for informational purposes only. Contact your physician for any diagnostic or treatment plan. Okay. 1978. My mom and stepfather were in Fiji, building the School of Natural Resources out at the University of the South Pacific in Suva, Fiji. Well, awesome. I was invited to go down there for the summer, and I went there. And I thought I was prepared. I had my insulin with me. I had supplies for the plane. A lot of it was sent down in the belly, but I had supplies, and I thought I was hip. I thought I was ready to go. We get up in the air. The first leg of the trip is fine. When I got on the plane, I had asked them to put the insulin in the refrigerator, and they said, sure. Before we landed in Honolulu, because you kind of had to stop in Honolulu, got my insulin, or asked for my insulin. They said, oh, it'll be fine. We'll just keep it in the fridge. Woo, wah, woo, wah. That's my big mistake alarm. My insulin never made it to Suva. When it came time for dinner service, when we were up in the air again, I had no insulin. I didn't have any food. I just had to walk the length of the plane backwards and forwards number of times. Oh, just keep walking. You've got to use up all that sugar. Yeah. But when we landed, I had to go to a Fijian hospital. And back then, the Fijian hospitals were nothing like probably how they are now, and they were nothing like Canada. I remember walking in, and it was just sort of like an open ward with no sort of like privacy in between each. There were cats lying on the beds in order to keep the rodents under bay. I got some insulin, and it was the wrong units. So here I was injecting what I thought was normal. I wasn't getting enough insulin. So for most of the summer, I was kind of sitting there going, because my blood sugar was high. So any small mistake that you make can carry on. So when traveling, I now, even if it's within Canada, I keep my insulin with me in a refrigerator bag with an ice pack. There's ones you can get that has the temperature on the outside. Most insulins now you can keep out of the fridge once they're open for like 28 days. So it's not such a big stickler, but back then they had to keep refrigerated. It was beef and pork insulin. Human insulin hadn't even made it to the market yet. But okay, so my trip wasn't the greatest. I was down there for 2.5 months, and flew back. But traveling to another world that has a different medical system, has different supplies of insulin than I was used to, and we didn't adjust for anything. It was just assumed that I could just take their insulin, put it in, and utilize it. I wasn't getting the correct amount of insulin. I guess I was getting enough insulin to cover me from going into DKA. You need to ensure when you are traveling, things like syringes, wipes, a small sharp container. insulin all be kept with you. All the insulin you're going to need for the trip, plus a few syringes, needs to be kept with you. The rest of your supplies for the main of your trip could go to the underbelly, but you need to handle any bit of emergency in the air. Another little thing that happened was I was on a business trip. We were flying down to Houston for a conference. On the way back, I packed everything up in my hotel room, not realizing I put my syringes in my regular luggage and they got checked. Coming back in the plane, my blood sugar was high and I needed to take insulin. I couldn't find it. And all I could picture was back for when I had to walk the aisles the whole trip. They were able to give me insulin needles out of their emergency kit. They had to radio down to the ground and get permission to open up their medical kit. And it was pretty well, you could have anything from here. So I took like 2 syringes, gave myself some insulin, and I could enjoy the flight. That one was completely my stupidity. I should have known, but we slept in before having to rush to the airport, and I just quickly gathered all my things and put them in. I now have what I call a go bag, and it's a black, I should have had it here for you, I'm sorry. It's a black backpack. It had my pump supplies, low blood sugars, glucose meters, Lancets, 2 Lancet devices, and it all works and it's awesome. If I go into Vancouver, I take it with me. If I go down to the grocery store, I take it with me. It's nice to say, yeah, you're only going to be within a kilometer. But what happens if there's an accident on the road that closes the road? You're going to be sitting there twiddling your thumbs. But just be prepared if you're traveling for anything. Make sure you have enough supplies with you. And what do I mean enough supplies? Well, you should have your supplies, a backup, and a backup. So when I went to get my service dog, it was across Canada, and I went, and on the plane, I had my supplies with me. I could do a pump change, give insulin. I could clean and sanitize the area. I could do it all. But that was because of the supplies I had with me. Sometimes you need to always be prepared and always be alert to what's going on. If hindsight is 2020, thinking back to that time when we were approaching Honolulu in my first story, I should have said, no, I need my insulin back, please. We'll put it in the air again when we land. We didn't know where the insulin was kept until it was found. We didn't know how effective the insulin would be. My doctor up here got the letter from the airline and supplied me with enough insulin for me for the trip. And when I came back, I had enough insulin for 2 months after, about 2 months after. Your health is number one. Now, when I say keep supplies with you, I'm not talking about keeping every little bit of supplies with you. You need pump change, you need syringes, you need alcohol, batteries, whatever it needs for you to do a change in the air. The rest of all of that, minus the insulin, can go in the belly of the plane. Don't send your insulin down into the belly of the plane. The main cabin is pressurized. Underneath, it's not necessarily pressurized. So make sure you take control and you understand where your supplies are and that you have enough. Don't get into the situation I had. And with that, we're going to call it a day. I'll talk to you tomorrow. And today on this is June 1st. This would have been my father's 91st birthday. But he passed away last year. And so I just thought I'd remember him. Anyway, have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye now. My email is mikesdiabetesworld@gmail.com. mikesdiabetesworld@gmail.com.